It all started when an excavation unearthed an ancient and mysterious seal. After that, a red mist quickly spread through the cities, and most other living creatures transformed into monsters with bizarre abilities. These creatures were called aberrant beasts. Wherever these monsters went, cities were left in ruins. With that, fear spread like wildfire everywhere. So the military tried to fight back, using all their firepower. And in the middle of the street, Yan finds himself surrounded by monsters that were thirsty for blood. Our MC was out of his mind, asking where Xiaoshua's was. He then unleashes his power and slices through the monsters. He was in a complete state of rage, controlled only by his bloodlust. But even in his berserker state, he calls out Xiaoshu's name, and he begins to wander through the rubble, searching for her, until on the ground he finds a doll that makes him remember his sister. He tries to touch the doll with his monstrous hand, and that was enough for him to regain his humanity. At that moment, a tear rolls down his face, and he calls out for Shu. He then screams in desperation, asking where she is. With that, the story flashes back to 3 days earlier when it all began. The main character was in the car with his sister, and suddenly a soldier appears and tells them to get out of the way. The army was everywhere. Xiaochui says she's scared, and our MC tries to calm her down. But he was also worried about all the commotion, and he wonders what that red mist is. Just then, something hits the car on the bridge above them. The car then heads straight for our MC's family. Yan quickly hugs his sister to shield her from the impact, and their vehicle is hit head-on by the other car. After the crash, he asks if his parents are okay, and he notices his dad's leg is pinned by the car's wreckage. Everyone is terrified by the situation. At that moment, our MC looks outside and sees something unbelievable. A giant monster had appeared and was wreaking havoc on the city. Desperate, his father yells for them to get out of the car immediately. With all his strength, Yan kicks the door open, and Xiaoxiu manages to get out. He then tries to help his parents, but they tell Yan to leave with his sister. In the meantime, monsters were attacking the people around them. Seeing this, his mother begs him to go, and his parents ask him to take care of his sister, no matter what. Suddenly, something hits his parents' car. It was a giant, bloodthirsty wolf. They then scream in despair for their parents, but that just drew the monster's attention. With no choice, the main character grabs his sister's hand and flees. Meanwhile, the entire city was under attack by monsters. With all this chaos, people were also losing their minds. The two of them run through the streets trying to survive, and Yan wonders what the heck is going on. Because monsters were everywhere, so the siblings hide in a store praying they won't be found. The main character decides to take a peek, and lucky for them, the monster was leaving. Yan then sighs in relief, but suddenly his sister starts screaming. Something strange was happening to her. Worried, Yan asks what's wrong, and she says she feels sick. He then sees his reflection in a mirror and realizes he has the marks too, and he wonders if it's because of the red mist they breathed in. He quickly grabs a water bottle and wets a cloth, and he places the cloth over his sister's face so she won't breathe any more of the mist. But suddenly, Yan himself starts to feel a sharp pain. He falls to the ground feeling hot and notices something erupting uncontrollably from his body. His sister gets scared and asks what's happening to him. He says he's fine. Just then, the monster hears them talking. It starts heading toward them, and Xiaoshu says she's scared. The monster then finds them, leaving them both terrified. Yan grabs his sister and runs out of there. They manage to escape the store and get back to the ruined streets. But a flying monster appears in front of them, and to make matters worse, another monster corners them. Seeing his sister so scared, he hugs her and says everything will be okay. The flying monster then leaps over them and protects its prey from the other monsters. The main character wonders if they're going to die right there. With nowhere to go, he decides to head back inside the store. Inside, the main character grabs a pipe, and he charges at the monster that was in there. But his attack doesn't even tickle it. After that, the creature lunges at him, and he barely manages to defend himself. Then someone hits the monster in the eye with an arrow. It was Xiaoshu, who used a crossbow to help her brother. The creature then goes after her, and Yan yells at her to run, and he tells her not to look back. After that, he starts to feel the mutation, and he wonders why this is happening right now. At that moment, his sister trips, and the creature catches up to her. He screams his sister's name, and with unnatural strength, he brings a wall down on the monster, crushing it. Our MC was in a state of total fury, and he starts beating the monster with an iron bar. Seeing her brother out of control, Xiaoshui gets worried about him. She then runs and hugs him, begging him to stop and come back to his senses, because she's fine now, and he doesn't need to do this anymore. He then remembers his parents' last words. They told him to be a man and take care of his sister, and that no matter what happened, he had to live and protect her. His sister calls his name, trying to bring him back. Hearing her voice, he finally snaps out of it, leaving Xiaoshu relieved. He apologizes for worrying her, and she asks if he's okay now. But outside, the flying monster appears. It tries to devour Xiaoshu, but the main character saves his sister at the last second. The creature then roars furiously at the two of them. Our MC then grabs the pipe. He tells the creature to stay away from his sister and attacks with everything he's got. The blow sends the creature flying. He tells Xiaoshu to hide because he's going to deal with the monsters. Yen explains that the flying creature has its eyes on them and he needs to lure it away. She hugs him tightly and says she's afraid he'll lose control again. But he calms her down and assures her he won't lose control this time. He asks her to wait for him and promises he'll come back for her. Xiao Shui then asks him to promise he'll return safe and sound. With a confident smile, he says he'll definitely come back for her. After he leaves, the main character steps out of the building, and he realizes he can get stronger by absorbing energy from the monsters. He then faces a giant monster, saying he'll defeat it to protect his sister, and he screams for the creature to die. A pack of wolves surrounds him, ready to attack, so the young man decides he'll take them all down, one by one, and he lands a solid hit on one of them. But another wolf manages to bite his arm. With that, he unleashes his power and tells them all to die. The main character is impressed, wondering if this is what it feels like to have power. Meanwhile, the large winged creature faces off against a military plane flying by. Suddenly, all the monsters retreat, and he doesn't understand why. He looks at his hand and wonders what's happening to his body. Just then, a huge missile comes flying toward him. His sister runs to him, but the young man screams for her to stay away. And then a massive explosion happens, destroying everything. From the sky, the army spots survivors among the rubble. But they notice the young man is infected and decide to leave him behind. The soldiers then grab his sister and take her to the helicopter. They hurry to leave because the monsters could return soon. With that, the main character is left alone, watching his sister fly away. At that moment, everything goes dark, and he has a nightmare about Xiao Hui. In the dream, she asks why he wasn't able to save her. Desperate, he screams her name as everything is consumed by flames. He then wakes up startled, realizing it was all just a dream. 6 months have passed, and he still wonders where his sister is. Yan gets up, relieved that he wasn't exposed. After the rescue, he searched for her in every refugee camp. But even after all that searching, he found no trace of her. That's why he enlisted in the army, so he could search for her more easily. He's currently at the frontier outpost of Chishi City. Yan introduces himself to his captain Jia Jun and apologizes for being late. But the captain calls him a useless rookie and kicks him angrily. Then he orders the main character to the watchtower and threatens him. It's explained that 6 months ago, the Crimson Fog destroyed the cities. This forced the survivors to hide within the border, living miserable lives. Our MC then wonders if that monster is still out there. Meanwhile, the captain complains that their patrol is just for show. His subordinates then say the Special Response Unit would never lose control, because they've been crushing aberrant beasts all the way here. Even after all this time, Yan still hates the smell of the blood mist. Suddenly, he notices the mist is clearing, but he realizes that something is actually coming. One of the soldiers then yells for the captain to check out the situation. The mist was heading right for them. And in the middle of the mist, you could see the Special Response Unit. The soldiers from the special unit were running from something. The captain then grabs his radio and screams desperately for everyone to fall back. But it was too late, and a monster grabs him. It was a huge lizard-like creature. From up high, our MC hears the screams of despair. Without hesitation, the young man leaps from the watchtower into the middle of the fight, and he lands on top of one of the creatures. He then starts to absorb the monster's energy. Another creature tries to attack him from behind with a bite, but the young man is faster and lands a direct hit. With his transformed hand, he sucks all the energy out of the monster. He feels stronger and wonders what will happen if he absorbs more. Several creatures surround him, and excited, he tells the monsters not to disappoint him. But suddenly, a purple bolt of lightning strikes the creatures. He wonders who's there and sees a white-haired girl in the mist. This is Song Rui, the captain of the Blaze Blood Dispatch team. The main character realizes it's the Special Response Unit and gets worried. He then quickly tries to hide his transformed arms. The captain orders her soldiers to leave no one alive and eliminate them all. In an instant, the special unit surrounds our MC. He raises his hands and tells them not to shoot, identifying himself as a soldier. But they were actually shooting at the creature behind him, leaving the main character relieved that he wasn't discovered. Then the captain approaches him. She asks where his weapon is and Yan thinks he's screwed. Song Rui then orders all units to fall back to the defensive line. At the new post, no one can enter without Officer Song's permission. She receives the casualty report, which totals 37. The main character is tense about the situation, and while being interrogated by the captain, he asks why he's being detained. The captain accuses him of being missing from his post for 2 hours before the attack. Not knowing what to say, he makes up a story that he was just taking a nap in the ruins with his captain's permission. But a soldier shows up and rats him out, saying he's always late for missions and the captain always lets him off the hook. This infuriates the main character, and he thinks about how he's going to get back at his colleague for telling those lies. Song Rui observes the scene and notes that the patrol team has issues. Meanwhile, in the infirmary, we see Captain Jia Jun all bandaged up. The captain shows him his file and says he survived an attack. He says he's afraid of dying and that because he's fast, he ran away first. She then questions why he joined the army if he's afraid of dying. He remembers the last 6 months searching for his sister. During that time, he avoided people and looked for her everywhere. The woman then accuses him of being a coward who abandoned his post. She threatens him, and he asks if she's going to execute him for it. Then the captain asks about his hands, and he realizes she saw everything. The captain gets close and whispers, asking what his real goal is. Suddenly, everything starts to shake violently. She wonders if it's an earthquake, but the young man recognizes this familiar feeling. He yells for everyone to run because a large number of beasts are coming. Songrui gets annoyed and wonders if he's trying to run away from her. She then takes him down with an electric shock and immobilizes him. The soldiers warn that the ground is cracking and ask her to take it easy, but it was too late, and the floor collapses. They then fall into an underground cavern and wonder where they are. Yan wonders if they've fallen underground. The captain then orders one of her soldiers to get the lights ready. The soldier who ratted him out calls him bad luck, but Yan says it's not the time for that. One of the soldiers then lights up a flare stick. The light reveals a huge labyrinth that was dug out by the beasts. The captain then tells everyone to stay calm and check their weapons, and she orders them to maintain formation and not to leave their backs exposed. As they explore the cave, the main character hears a familiar sound. He realizes it's the sound of wind, and the soldier next to him says there must be an exit. The soldier then runs toward the sound, and the young man follows him. But when they get there, they find a creature, and the main character yells for him to get down. The monster is hit by a shot and falls to the ground dead. Yan warns them to be careful because the creature's blood is corrosive. The captain then reprimands him for acting without her orders. She says he seems very good at avoiding risks and that he'll have to explain everything. The main character wonders what her goal is, since she knows his secret. Suddenly, they hear a strange noise and realize something is coming. It was more of those giant insect-like creatures. A massive horde of monsters appears, surrounding all of them. With nowhere to run, they prepare for the worst. The soldiers start shooting to clear a path through the creatures. They run desperately, trying to escape the swarm of monsters. The captain yells not to stop running, and the main character is confused. Suddenly, the swarm of insects stops chasing them. They then notice something inside the cave. It was a tyrant-class monster that was absorbing the red mist. The creature then begins to convert the red mist into energy. The young man yells for everyone to be careful, because that thing is dangerous. The captain then fires a powerful electric shot at the monster, but the creature counters with an even stronger energy beam. The captain's attack can't stop the monster's beam. Her shot hits the creature but doesn't do much damage. The monster's attack heads toward the captain, and she won't be able to dodge it. Our MC saves her at the last second but ends up exposing his powers in front of everyone. He then says that if they get out of there alive, he'll explain everything to her. The captain is doubtful he can do anything since even she couldn't. But our MC was confident, and he charges toward the monster. He recognizes it as a tyrant-class creature. A screen then explains the monster ranks in this world, and tyrant is the second highest. He lands a powerful punch and already thinks about how much stronger he'll get if he defeats the monster. The creature retaliates with a strike, but Yan dodges at the last second. The main character realizes the monster is much tougher than usual. He figures that to get so strong, the creature must have devoured its own kind. The monster attacks with its claw, but the main character dodges with ease. Yan finds the attack slow and concludes the creature focused everything on defense. And he says the creature is nothing more than a ridiculous moving target. The other soldiers fire, but the bullets ricochet off the monster's armor. The soldier is shocked to see the cowardly Yan fighting head-on, and he wonders what exactly Yan Hao is. The captain then says he's a secret government experiment. She says she only confirmed it when he protected her from the creature's attack. Vice Officer Lin Yongji is suspicious of the captain's story. She continues the lie, saying he escaped from a lab, and she threatens the soldier, saying it's top-secret information. While they're talking, the creature prepares another energy ball, and it fires it at the main character. Seeing the power of the blast, Yan gets very worried about his comrades. He desperately yells for them to get out of the way. The energy ball hits the ground and causes a giant explosion. After the smoke clears, we see the captain safe and sound on the ground. The soldier who ratted him out also survives and wonders if he's still alive. He then realizes that the vice officer of the special unit protected him. The officer says it was worth trading a leg for a life. He says he became a soldier to protect people, not to kill monsters, and that as humanity's last shield, he can't abandon anyone. The main character is then thrown a great distance. Lying on the ground, he realizes he's out of red mist energy. The creature reveals itself to be a tyrant-class spiked beetle. The monster then roars in anger and charges at the main character. The captain shoots the creature with her electric weapon to save the MC, and he's surprised to see that Song Rui saved him. She yells that he can't die yet because he still has a lot to explain. After being hit, the monster starts to laugh creepily. The captain is shocked to see that the creature is laughing. Suddenly, the red mist starts to rise again throughout the cave. The monster uses the mist to heal and regain its strength. The captain says that at this rate, the creature will fully recover. She suggests they retreat, but the main character refuses to give up. He says the red mist strengthens him too, and this is their best chance. She warns him that if they fail, he could die here. But he says he's faced death so many times that one more doesn't make a difference. Seeing his determination, the captain agrees and says they only have one shot. She's going to use all her power to blow open the monster's head carapace. Aiming for the creature's weak spot, she prepares to fire, and she unleashes a powerful attack. The shot shatters the carapace, creating an opening for Yan to attack. He then lands a solid hit on the beetle, but seeing it wasn't a very effective attack, he starts to unleash a flurry of strikes. And after a sequence of attacks, the captain wonders if they manage to defeat the monster. An explosion then occurs, throwing Yan far away. The creature's head had exploded. The captain runs to the main character and is relieved to see he's okay. She then notices something in the main character's pocket, and she realizes it's a photo. The monster's crystal then enters Yan's hand. He wakes up in a strange place and realizes he can't move. The main character sees himself completely transformed into a beast. Suddenly, a DNA structure appears and begins to glow intensely. He then realizes he can move and that he has a crystal in his chest. He notices the crystal in his chest is the same one that was in his hand. He wonders how the crystal that belonged to the monster ended up in his chest. The crystal then begins to absorb the surrounding red mist. With this, he realizes he can absorb more mist without losing control. He can now absorb beasts and evolve to become stronger without hesitation. But he notices the crystal's storage capacity is limited. At this rate, the crystal will explode, and he decides to do something about it. He decides to use the crystal to absorb all the red mist at once. He then wakes up in a hospital bed. His eyes glow and he realizes he's still connected to the crystal. He gets up and tries to gather the red mist. The captain enters the room and sees him using his powers. She asks what he's doing, and startled, he accidentally fires the energy ball. The energy explodes and destroys part of the hospital. The story then flashes back to 5 minutes before the explosion. The captain was talking to the soldier about the vice officer's leg. The vice officer calls her and asks what's going on with Yahello. She says the matter is top secret and tells him to focus on recovering. The woman says she transferred him to logistics and that he can rest. He then threatens her, saying he'll tell her father everything. Angrily, she revokes his communication privileges and confines him to his room. She leaves and asks the soldier where Yahello's room is. They then go to room 314, where the main character was. She tells the soldier to guard the door and not let anyone in. Upon entering, she finds the main character about to launch an energy ball. He desperately yells for her to get out of the way. He then loses control and fires the energy ball, and the captain barely manages to dodge it. The attack knocks down the soldier who was on guard, and it destroys the buildings in front of them. The vice officer sees the damage from his window and wonders if it was Yahello's doing and how long the captain will hide it. The soldier who is on guard is on the floor, wondering why this always happens to him. Song Rui is surprised by the damage the attack caused and wonders if he can use his abilities without transforming. She then turns to the main character and says he owes her an explanation. The scene cuts to the hospital rooftop. There she's surprised to learn that the main character can absorb beast cores and gain their abilities. And Yan says that's not all. He can also absorb and store red mist. The captain is impressed and says he's quite multifunctional. The main character shows his transformed arm and says he's gained power but fears becoming a monster too. He then asks the captain if someone like him can still be considered human and what she thinks of him. The woman replies that he is a unique existence and that being human or monster depends on how he uses his power. She continues, saying his strength is both a weapon and a disaster for the world. With that, the captain offers him 2 paths. The first is to join her squad as a reserve soldier. The second option is to be classified as a threat and be eliminated just like the aberrant beasts. Our MC is surprised by the threat and wonders if she's serious about eliminating him. He doubts the city's forces could do it, but she admits she can't handle him alone now. But it would be arrogant to think he could take on her unit, and joining her has only advantages. The young man is suspicious and asks why she would go to such lengths to recruit a dangerous element like him. She admits he's smart and that she needs him for certain reasons, but assures him they aren't enemies. With a thoughtful look, the captain suggests that maybe he can see the situation differently. She makes a proposal and tells him to treat it like a transaction, leaving the young man surprised. The captain shows a photo of him with his sister, and the main character is shocked, asking how she got it. She tells him not to underestimate her as investigating his past is easy and promises to find his sister if he joins her. He reflects that his search alone has its limits and that a better position in the army would help him find his sister. So he accepts the deal and takes the photo but says that since she needs him so badly, he asks for a raise as he spent everything looking for his sister. The captain approves him as a reserve warrior with the highest salary and tells him to handle the paperwork. The young man then salutes and says he'll take care of his transfer right away. But before he leaves, she remembers something important. She informs him that she'll pay for the hospital damage but will deduct it from his salary in the future. She then thinks of her uncle and promises she'll find a way to save him. The main character leaves, complaining that he'll have to pay for everything, while the captain feels he's the key to something. She believes the main character is the answer to reversing the transformation of aberrant beasts back into humans. The scene then shifts to a city patrol building, and the main character asks the soldier who ratted him out if he's also joining the special team. The soldier says the captain and vice officer like him, and that now they can help each other. Our hero tries to remember the soldier's name, but realizes he never paid attention to him before. The soldier calls out to Captain Jia and waves at him happily. Our MC then looks back and notices that Captain Jia is surrounded. A red-haired brute taunts him, reminding him he's been beaten up over a woman before. This guy is Jiang Shi, the defense captain, and he kicks Captain Ji hard. The soldier with the main character is furious at the scene and charges at the aggressors, but Jiang Shi's men are faster and easily pin the young man to the ground. The enemy captain then grabs Jia's chin and humiliates him, telling him to lick his shoes. With a malicious smile, he threatens to break the other soldier's arm for the captain to use as a crutch. Seeing the whole situation, Captain Jia is desperate and starts sweating, not knowing what to do. With little choice, he starts to kneel to obey the other captain's order. But our MC appears and stops him, saying he doesn't have to do that. The young man smiles and says the captain helped him before and now it's his turn to return the favor. With that, he stands in front of the captain and threatens to break the bones of anyone who touches him. The other captain's soldiers are shocked and furious at the rookie's audacity. Then they all charge, yelling that our MC is asking to die. With a serious look, the young man prepares for combat against all those soldiers. With a powerful kick, he starts the countdown and takes down the first soldier. Next, he lands a solid punch to another guy's chin. Dodging an attack, he does a leg sweep and knocks out the third. And with a devastating uppercut, he sends the last soldier flying. The impact is so strong that the guy flies far and hits the wall. In the blink of an eye, all the enemy soldiers are on the ground, defeated. Their captain is shocked and wonders how the young man was so fast. Enraged, he pulls out a gun and curses at our MC. Yan just smiles and dodges the bullets. And then he grabs the gun, saying the shot was way too slow. With a firm grip, the main character simply crushes the pistol in his hand. He says the captain's speed isn't even 1% of Song Rui's. Desperate, the captain pulls a knife and tries to attack the young man. But the main character grabs his arm without any effort. He then asks if he was the one who wanted to see Captain Jia on his knees. With a tight grip, the main character chokes the captain, who tries to stammer something in terror. With a cold stare, our hero says it's his turn now. Without mercy, he smashes the brute's face into the ground with incredible force. The defense captain is left unconscious in the middle of a crater. His soldiers are shocked to see that the young man dodged bullets and destroyed a gun. Our hero then realizes the power of the beast core has surpassed all his expectations. Seeing so much power, the enemy soldiers flee in terror, calling the young man a monster. The soldier praises him and says he looked like a god of war. Captain Jihan thanks him, but Yanhao says he was just returning the favor for always protecting him. Even so, the captain is worried about the defense team causing trouble. But the young man tells him not to worry, because now on the special team, no one will mess with them. The scene then shifts to the temporary base of the city's special response team. In the office, Captain Song asks if he's finished the transfer, and he confirms. She then shows that his application has already been approved for an assessment. He asks if he's an official member yet, but the woman says the real test is still to come. She says he must go immediately to the Lake City headquarters to participate in the combat assessment. With a confident smile, he says he'll set new records and that passing the test will be no problem. We then see a convoy of military vehicles speeding down the road toward Hucheng. The whole team was on its way to the new city for our MC's assessment. Inside the car, the captain explains that Hucheng is the capital and where the Blazing Blood headquarters is located. The main character asks how the ranks work and points to the soldier, saying he's weak. The soldier laughs sheepishly and says he can take a bit of a beating. But the captain explains that he's going to logistics and doesn't need to take the combat test. The soldier then says they have plenty of time and decides to pass on some information to our hero. It's explained that people with special abilities are called warriors, and their ranks are based on strength and agility. The aberrant beasts are also classified into 5 classes, from weakest to strongest. An E-rank warrior can typically defeat a scout-class beast, and so on. Additionally, affinity with a beast core also affects your rank, and the main character is curious. Only creatures mutated by the Crimson Fog have abilities, and humans need special armaments. Factors like luck and talent affect affinity, and without it, the highest someone can reach is E-rank. The military convoy finally arrives in Hucheng City at high speed, but upon arrival, they are stopped by a soldier who says the street is closed. The special response team is blocked, and a soldier says they are on an official mission. Suddenly, a luxury car with a strange symbol appears in the middle of the street. The captain wonders what the Green Vine group is doing there and feels that something is wrong. An hour later, everyone is at the Blazing Blood assessment site. The chief examiner, Lin Yongxin, warns that it doesn't matter who they are as everyone will follow the rules. He continues, saying he won't tolerate cheating and that anyone who doesn't have what it takes can leave. With that, he announces the first event will be the physical assessment and gives the signal to start. Our hero runs 100 meters with 50 kilograms on his back in just 5 seconds. Then he lifts a 500-kilogram weight with one hand, shocking everyone. In the strength test, he lands a powerful punch on the measurement machine. The punch was so strong that the machine broke and couldn't even calculate his score. 10 minutes later, the young man informs the examiner that he has completed all the events. The examiner then confirms his final score, which was 198 points. The other recruits are dumbfounded by his 198 points, and one of them accuses the MC of cheating. One of the guys calls the instructor and says the previous record was only 140 points. This is Zhang Jin, the younger brother of the defense captain who had been beaten by the main character before, and he refuses to believe the score. The instructor says he supervised everything personally and asks if he's being accused of letting him pass. The young man then backs down and says it was just curiosity and that he wouldn't dare accuse him of anything. He then approaches our MC and asks if he's really from the Chishi Patrol team. With a sinister smile, he says he just wanted to say hi since they're from the same city and threatens him. The young man remembers the humiliation his older brother suffered at the hands of our hero, and with a look full of hatred, he swears he'll make our MC pay 10 times over. Our hero is suspicious of the talk about being from the same city. The instructor explains that his name is Jong Jin, a rich kid from the defense team, and asks if he knows him. Our hero then understands the connection and concludes that the entire city's defense team is rotten to the core. The examiner begins to announce the results of the physical test, listing the scores of some recruits, and to no one's surprise, he announces Yan Hao in first place with 198 points. A blonde girl named Jin Yang finds the young man interesting and says she'll keep an eye on him in the next test. In his room, Zhang Jin complains that he should have been first in the test. He gets angry because two monsters appeared out of nowhere and someone teases him about his brother. A voice on the hologram says he only has one chance and he better not screw it up. With a determined look, the young man says he needs to get into blazing blood for his brother. The scene then shifts to the Beast Corps testing station with all the recruits. The instructor explains that the test isn't complicated and they just need to wear a wrist guard. After putting on the item, they just need to touch the Beast Corps to begin the assessment. He warns that anyone with an affinity below 40% will be eliminated on the spot. It's explained that the quality of the core depends on the strength of the monster that produced it. Each person has a different affinity for each core, potentially awakening powers. These abilities vary according to the affinity and talent of each individual. The instructor warns that this item only tests affinity and does not grant any abilities. With everything explained, he finally announces that the affinity test will begin. The first recruit to take the test gets an affinity rate of 39%. The young man falls to the ground in despair as he placed 5th in the physical test and has now failed. The next recruit gets 56% and celebrates because he passed the test. The instructor then calls Zhang Jin to do his assessment. With an arrogant look, the young man walks to the test. He then picks up the crystal and touches the Beast Core to the wrist guard. With his eyes glowing, he yells for the core to obey him. The result then appears on the screen, and he gets 60% affinity. Everyone is shocked, as last year's record was 56%. With a wicked smile, he calls everyone trash and declares himself the strongest there. The other recruits start whispering while our MC just watches. Suddenly, the blonde girl appears and asks how she's never heard of someone so strong. She introduces herself as the intelligence know-it-all and says he's impressive. She then accuses him of having something to do with the mist in Chishi, but he pretends not to know anything. The woman says it's no problem, but she's very interested in him. Seeing an opportunity, our hero calls her Miss Know-It-All and asks for some information. With a smile, the blonde girl accepts our MC's request for information. But she says there's a condition. He needs to get a higher score than hers. The woman promises to tell him everything he wants to know, and the instructor calls her for the test. Excited, she runs to the assessment platform saying she's on her way. One of the recruits tells everyone to watch as she's going to break Zhang Jin's record. The main character wonders if she's that strong and the rival calls her a pathetic clown. The girl prepares to begin her assessment, and with the crystal in her hand, she tells everyone to watch what she's about to do. The result shocks everyone, as she gets 78% affinity. She then gives a big smile and a thumbs up, and she boasts to Zhang Jin for breaking his record. The rival is filled with hatred and swears he won't leave her or the main character alone. Our hero thinks the girl is strong and she teases him, asking if he feels the pressure. Determined, he goes for the test, saying he needs to win to get a clue about his sister. The main character remembers that his rank is at least C and that the core is the same as the one he absorbed before. He then activates the device, curious to see what his affinity will be. He then prepares for the test, wanting to see his true potential. Suddenly, the screen shows rank C, and everyone is shocked by the power level. But then the machine errors out, and no one understands what the affinity rate is. The final result then appears, and to everyone's surprise, it's 0%. Seeing this, the rival starts laughing and mocks our hero, saying the core rejected him. Our MC just makes a serious face. Suddenly, he feels something strange in his hand. The Beast Core then begins to be absorbed by his body against his will. His eyes glow red, and he wonders why his body is absorbing the core. The blonde girl says that 0% affinity is something that has never happened before. She gets excited about the result and starts recording everything, saying the old man will love it. The rival then notices something strange is happening with the main character's core. He then accuses the main character of stealing the core because it disappeared from his hand. The instructor yells for the main character to raise his hand and show the device and the core. He approaches and asks where the beast core that was in his hand is. Not knowing what to say, our hero tries to explain that he doesn't know what happened either. He thinks fast and realizes he needs an excuse, or he'll become a lab rat. So the young man decides to risk it all and say that this is a beast core ability. He then transforms his arm in front of everyone, revealing his hidden power. The rival is shocked and wonders what the heck he's seeing. The instructor panics and tells everyone to fall back immediately. The blonde girl is fascinated by the scene and wonders if this is the so-called beastification. One of the soldiers points a gun at our hero, and the instructor yells for everyone to back away. The examiner realizes the only option is to eliminate him right there to avoid problems. Jin Ying then tries to communicate with our MC, asking if he can hear her, and he replies asking what the problem is. The instructor is relieved to see that the young man hasn't lost consciousness. Our hero then explains that this is a core ability, and that it all happened on its own. The blonde girl is excited to see that he hasn't gone crazy, and that he has a transformation ability. The instructor congratulates our hero, saying he hit the jackpot with this rare ability. The main character asks who she is and how she knows so much about his abilities, and Jin Ying excitedly says she's the know-it-all around here. The instructor reveals that her father is the head of research, and she complains that he spoiled her mystery. The examiner then ends the confusion and asks our hero to hand over the beast core. The young man looks awkward and tries to explain that it doesn't quite work that way. He shows his wrist and says the core has attached itself to his body and won't let go. The rival is shocked to learn that the beast core has fused with his body. He then thinks that he needs to inform the Green Vine people about this perfect test subject. The scene then shifts to the radiology room where our hero is being examined. He is placed in a scanning machine to analyze what has happened to his body. The doctors are shocked to see that the core has fused with his body. Director Jin then appears and asks for his opinion on the case. The director says the young man is worth studying, as he's sure he's hiding many secrets. A mysterious man appears and asks Director Jin about the boy's situation. The director complains that Blazing Blood still follows the rule of not accepting anyone with less than 40%. The chief of staff tells him to stop being dramatic and explain what's happening. He then reveals that he led the team that developed the machine and that the score wasn't 0. His daughter gets impatient and asks him to just tell them what happened to the young man. The director then says the machine malfunctioned and that our MC's affinity is unprecedented, and he says he was shocked to learn that his affinity surpassed the theoretical limit of 100%. With that, he calls for Instructor Yongshin and leaves the room in a hurry. Meanwhile, our MC notices that the crystal in his chest is changing color. He remembers that he absorbed an insect core and activated the crystal in his body. The crystal is now stronger, and he concludes that the stronger the beast, the stronger he becomes. The scene then shifts to the headquarters of the Blazing Blood Special Response Unit. Captain Song argues with someone, asking what the problem is with letting the young man join her squad. The man reprimands her for her tone of voice and says she's too concerned about a rookie. She then calls him father and says she promised the young man a spot on her team. Her father says a soldier's promise is to the country and that the main character has already been assigned to Yongshin's team. He then questions why she's fighting over a rookie and orders her back to her post. The woman agrees but thinks she'll find another way to handle this. The scene then shifts to the barracks, where someone shouts our hero's name with big news. The blonde girl appears and says the rookies are going to explore a beast nest and that she arranged for them to be together. Our MC is surprised by the news and is officially a rank C member of Lin Yongshin's team. The instructor explains that the mission's objective is to investigate the nest and assess the threat level. The woman says her specialty is data collection and that she'll watch his back. The team then departs in military vehicles as it's explained that beast nests have 4 threat levels. The driver explains that the nest they're investigating is a hive type with a complex network of tunnels. Jinying says the nest has a swarm of poisonous bees, and Yan doubts the need for so many soldiers. The driver warns that there's something ahead and corrects the main character, saying they aren't ordinary bees. Our hero then looks out the window and sees a huge swarm in the sky. They were giant bees with red eyes, and the driver yells that they are scout class. Desperate, the soldier driving yells for everyone to hold on tight. The giant bees attack the convoy with their stingers, and the vehicle begins to be destroyed. Jinying says the vehicle won't withstand the bees' attack. Our MC then creates a shield with the crystal and says he'll take care of the swarm. The bees' stingers hit the car, riddling it with holes. The young man then rips the vehicle's door off and jumps into the middle of the swarm. With the door transformed into a weapon, he starts slicing through the giant bees. The driver is shocked and asks what kind of ability lets him use a door as a weapon. The blonde girl explains that it's a transformation ability and that he absorbed a core during the assessment. She is impressed to see that he can apply the transformation to objects as well. Suddenly, a green ray hits the bees and our hero's shield. The young man is confused by the attack and wonders what that green thing is. He realizes the attack is stronger than the stingers and could break his defense. With that, he yells for the team to take cover as there's another enemy nearby. Everyone runs to take shelter behind a rock to protect themselves from the attacks. A soldier with a flamethrower says the iron bees are afraid of fire and joins the fight. But the fuel tank is hit by the green spikes, and then it explodes. Our MC asks Jin Ying what those mysterious green spikes are. She explains that it's the Hive Queen and that her venom can corrode any armor. Seeing the situation, he asks her to take care of the smaller bees while he goes after the queen. The woman then unleashes her power and agrees to help our MC. With her wind ability, she creates a storm to stop the swarm. Her attack is powerful and manages to push the bees back, clearing a path. The queen then appears, protected by a barrier, and our hero charges forward. With a determined look, he finds an opening and gets close to the creature. The queen then reveals her true form and prepares for combat. Our MC then transforms his shield into a powerful weapon. He creates a bizarre spear and says this form should be enough. He plants his feet firmly on the ground and prepares to throw his spear. He hurls his weapon with force toward the queen. The creature tries to dodge, but the attack is a direct hit, piercing the queen's vital point, leaving everyone impressed. But even after the hit, the creature remains standing as if nothing happened. Jingying is shocked by the creature's power and wonders what's happening. She then yells for our MC not to let the queen escape, because she's about to evolve into the sovereign class. Without the red mist, our hero runs out of energy and collapses on the ground, exhausted. The woman then approaches and teases him, asking if he needs mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. He gets up and says he's not interested in kids, which annoys her. With a smile, she offers him a chocolate bar to regain his energy. The rest of the team shows up saying they're fine and will set up a defense. They begin to observe the hive. Jingying uses a device and sees that the mist in the nest is low and they can enter. She says this is their chance to finish off the queen and that the mission is worth a lot of points. At the headquarters of the Special Response Unit, we go to the Chief of Staff's office. Inside, he says the higher-ups are divided about our hero and that scientists want to use him as a test subject. The chief then says that Yahello is special and tells them to keep an eye on him. Suddenly, Yangshin receives an emergency transmission, and the chief tells him to answer it quickly. On the phone, he finds out the nest threat level has risen and asks if the duo has already gone in. The chief finds this absurd, as Jingying wouldn't risk so much and suspects something is wrong. He then orders Songrui's unit to be dispatched for support and to protect the two. Just then, Yongji appears, and the chief is startled because he was supposed to be in the hospital. The chief says that Yongshin's younger brother will continue to serve with Songrui. He gives a direct order for the young man to report to the captain and be her adjutant. Yongshin then realizes that he was the one who placed his brother alongside the captain. With that, the chief dismisses them and thinks he's done what he could for his daughter. Back at the nest, the duo wears special suits that protect them from the red mist. As they enter, Jingying says the energy readings haven't changed much, but she warns that if the queen evolves to the sovereign class, the mission will become much more difficult. Suddenly, Yan tells the girl to stop and she doesn't understand. And out of nowhere, the queen bee appears right in front of them. The young man recognizes the creature and says she has evolved to the sovereign class. Jianying is shocked and wonders how this happened with so little mist. Moreover, she notices that even the smaller bees have gotten stronger. Desperate, Jianying sees that the mist is at an alert level and the device didn't warn them. With that, the girl starts coughing and falls to the ground, weak. She then says the suits were sabotaged and there's a traitor on the team. And to make matters worse, the entire cave starts to crumble on top of them. Seeing this, the young man pulls her by the hand and yells for them to fall back. Our hero smiles because the mist strengthens him, but first he needs to save the girl. So with a powerful kick, he opens a hole in one of the cave walls. He tells the woman to hide there because the place is safe and well ventilated. He asks her to inform the reinforcements about the suits and says he'll hold off the monsters. The blonde girl agrees and says she'll update the team on the nest's situation. Jianying then calls out to him, and she threatens him, saying she'll hunt him down to hell if he doesn't come back. With a confident smile, he promises he'll return. He then turns and faces the powerful queen bee. He thinks that now he has the power to protect those he loves and that he will keep his promise. With that, he gathers energy and yells that he won't fail this time. Our MC finds himself completely surrounded by the swarm of giant bees. He realizes he only has enough energy for one last shot and needs to make it count. So the young man focuses all the red mist and condenses it into a single point. He fires the Crimson Blast, a powerful energy attack. The blast causes a gigantic explosion that illuminates the entire cave. The beam hits the queen head-on and throws her against a rock wall. After the smoke clears, he wonders if the attack worked. Suddenly, he notices more red mist rising from the ground, and to his surprise, the swarm of bees is still standing and surrounds him again. Our hero is shocked and can't believe his attack didn't work against the swarm. The scene then flashes back 3 minutes earlier, with the girl fixing the analyzer. With a screwdriver, she finally manages to fix the sabotage device. The meter then goes off the charts, showing the mist is at double the alert level. Suddenly, our MC's explosion happens and throws the woman aside. She gets up and wonders if the noise outside was an explosion. The girl realizes his attack only made the red mist even denser. As a result, the bees evolved and are now Hound class. Our MC then begins to fight against the creatures. He realizes that the more he fights, the more powerful the monsters become. Even with the mist, the young man is spending more energy than he can recover. He blocks an attack and realizes that at this rate, he'll soon run out of strength. From her hiding spot, Jianying wonders if Yahello will be able to hold on. She notices marks on his neck and sees that his suit was also sabotaged. Her device then shows that the red mist level is extremely high. Jianying sees the readings climbing and realizes he's about to lose control. She then decides to use her power to disperse the red mist around him. With that, she launches a powerful blast of wind toward our MC. The wind attack then circles around him. She raises her finger and says, "Now is the time." And then she lowers her finger and yells to detonate. The wind ball explodes and dissipates all the surrounding red mist. Yan is confused about what happened. He realizes the mist is gone and his power source has been cut off. But the creatures were still there, ready to attack. The creatures then fire their venomous stingers, and Yan defends himself with his transformed arms. He realizes the stingers have a paralyzing venom and gets worried. Suddenly, from behind him, more attacks come his way. He then realizes he won't be able to dodge. However, someone jumps in front of him to shield him from the attack. The mysterious person takes the full volley of spikes as our MC is shocked and recognizes that it's Adjutant Lin. The adjutant is rank C and tells him to focus because the fight isn't over. With that, the two stand back to back, surrounded by the creatures. Suddenly, purple lightning strikes the monsters and eliminates them. It was Captain Song Rui, who is also rank C and has electrical powers. Our hero is surprised and asks what they are doing there. The captain explains that they received orders from headquarters to provide support. With a shout, she orders all units to advance against the insects. Her squad then rushes into the battle to help. The team uses flamethrowers to burn the creatures and clear a path. The captain tells the two to fall back to regroup, and they obey. But the queen bee was still there, and her stinger begins to glow. The creature then fires a super fast red beam and a soldier yells for the adjutant to be careful. The captain yells for them not to look back and to keep running. With that, she uses electromagnetic annihilation, a super powerful attack. The move creates an electric field that destroys and paralyzes everything in its range. The red beam is completely disintegrated by the captain's powerful attack. The soldiers then celebrate because her attack hit the queen bee. The captain orders them to finish off the swarm and prioritize rescuing the creature. Our hero is shocked by her power, and the adjutant explains that she wasn't even using her full strength last time. Song Rui then finds Jin Ying, who complains about them being late. The blonde girl says if they had taken any longer, they'd be collecting her remains. With the primary mission accomplished, the captain orders them to eliminate the threat from the nest. Our hero takes the opportunity to absorb the red mist and recover his energy. He thinks he needs to try again since his last attack didn't defeat the queen. Something then catches his attention. Everyone was surprised, because the queen bee was in the sky absorbing all the red mist from the nest. She then begins to glow, and the young man wonders if she's evolving again. Meanwhile, the blonde girl is desperate as the red mist is surpassing level 4. Then, the creature roars in anger. One of the soldiers then informs the captain that a large swarm of bees has appeared right behind them. Our MC yells for them to handle the swarm and says he'll deal with the queen alone. The captain then yells for her team to continue helping the young man, and the adjutant agrees. Yan advances toward the monster and realizes he needs to finish her off once and for all. He starts unleashing a sequence of attacks but knows that alone won't be enough. He concludes that just using his claws won't do the trick and prepares a new energy ball. With that, he launches a powerful blast of condensed energy toward the queen. The blow hits the creature head-on and causes a huge explosion in the middle of the cave. After the smoke clears, he looks at the queen and wonders if his attack finally worked. But to his surprise, the creature is still alive and its stinger pierces through the smoke. Our MC realizes that just using energy won't deliver the final blow and that he needs a weapon. He then looks at the ground and finds the queen's stinger, and he gets an idea. With that, he uses his ability and transforms the stinger into a giant sword. He then charges at the queen bee, dodging her attacks. Our hero decides to use all his remaining energy to strengthen the sword. He then thanks the queen for the gift and goes on the attack. Using all his energy, he prepares to deliver the final blow. The sword pierces through the creature, cutting it in half with a single strike. After the attack, the queen explodes, leaving behind only a trail of smoke. In the middle of the smoke, a glowing beast core appears, floating. Our MC recognizes it as a sovereign-class core. Spud with a victorious smile, he says he'll take the core for himself. He then absorbs the core and feels the powerful energy filling his crystal. But the energy is so strong that he can't handle it. Meanwhile, Captain Song eliminates the rest of the swarm. She wonders why the creatures became so weak and tells everyone to help the young man. But when they get there, they find our hero collapsed on the ground, and the captain is shocked. Desperate, she screams our MC's name. Jin Ying then examines him and says his neural signals are scrambled. She realizes he was exposed to too much mist and could lose his sanity. The captain then orders the adjutant to use a medical capsule to block his neural transmission. The scene then shifts to a temporary camp outside the beast nest. Song Rui tells Jin Ying to monitor the capsule, and the adjutant reassures him. The capsule is then activated and begins to inject anesthesia into the young man. Jin Ying explains that this will only contain him temporarily and that they need to go back. Inside his mind, a monstrous version of himself tempts him to embrace beastification. He then has flashbacks of his parents and sister and wonders if he's going to die there. Our hero apologizes to his family and asks for forgiveness for not being able to keep his promise. He then feels it's the end and prepares for the worst. But suddenly, his parents appear and encourage him not to give up. His sister says she's still waiting for him and asks him to come back safely. His friends also appear and encourage him to wake up and keep fighting. He then says everyone is waiting for him and that it's not over yet. With that, his demonic side is chained up and Yan swears he will never fall here. He then says the responsibility isn't his alone and points to his monstrous version. Our hero tells his other half to come back because everyone is waiting for them. He then wakes up and realizes that the price of becoming stronger is dancing on a razor's edge. The scene then shifts to the military convoy driving through a sandstorm. The driver complains that the storm is too strong and that it's dangerous to keep driving. The adjutant says there's a ruin 3 kilometers away and asks if they should head there. The captain then asks Jin Ying about the main character's condition. Jin Ying replies that his vital signs are stable, but he hasn't woken up yet. Song Rui then orders them to enter the ruins to take shelter from the storm. The convoy then proceeds at high speed toward the ruined city. Upon arriving, the captain orders everyone to disembark and rest for a bit. She says something feels wrong and tells Jin Ying to scan the area. The captain orders them to protect the young man, as this is a high-priority order. Suddenly, hooded figures with crossbows appear and surround the group. They then fire a shower of poisoned arrows at them. The adjutant yells for everyone to take cover and uses his hardening ability. The blonde girl notices the arrows are tipped with wasp venom and alerts everyone. A huge rock is thrown from the sky, and the captain yells for everyone to scatter. She then uses her electric powers to destroy the projectile. With that, she leaps onto a roof and prepares for combat. The adjutant shields Jin Ying from the debris with his hardened body. The enemies yell not to let them escape and to take everything they have. They then throw bottles with a strange green liquid. The captain wonders what it is and the bottles explode, releasing a green smoke. She realizes it's fluid from a Dominator-class beast and that the gas is paralyzing. The enemies then charge, yelling to take them down. A brute with a giant axe taunts her and tells her to hand everything over. But the captain is faster and hits him squarely with an electric strike. The captain's electric blow is so strong that it sends the brute flying. Suddenly, a giant hook latches onto the medical capsule where our hero is. But the gas takes effect, and the captain falls to the ground, unable to move. The enemies celebrate and pull the capsule, thinking there's a treasure inside. Seeing this, Jin Ying runs desperately, screaming for them not to touch that. But an arrow hits her leg, and she falls to the ground. Fallen and injured, she can only watch as they take the capsule with the main character. Inside, Yanhao's body begins to glow with a mysterious red energy. Zhi Xingying is blaming herself, insisting they have to save Yanhao. The captain then yanks the arrow out of her leg. She tells her to stay put, but Jin points out something weird. The enemies knew exactly where they were. Assistant Lin then reports that most of the hostiles have fled, leading the captain to conclude they've gone underground. The assistant adds that they found an abandoned elevator, which is likely the entrance to their hideout. And with that, Song Rui orders her team to gear up for the rescue mission. In response, all the soldiers shout in unison, acknowledging the order. The soldier who's our MC's friend asks to tag along, but the captain shuts him down, saying he's not a combatant. But the guy insists, arguing that Yanhao is his friend and saved his life. He can't just sit on the sidelines. Seeing his determination, the captain caves and tells him to stick close so he doesn't get himself hurt. Meanwhile, the goons are trying to crack open the pod, and their leader tells everyone to back off. He gears up to pry the pod open with sheer brute force, and he smashes it dead on, but it looks like he didn't even leave a scratch. The leader grumbles that the pod is tougher than a bank vault, and they've already busted a bunch of tools trying to open it. Suddenly, some blonde kid shows up and claims he can open it, but they have to head to the floor below. The thug leader flies off the handle, shouting that it's a dead end down there. Anyone who's gone has never returned. One of the henchmen scoffs that the kid must be dreaming, since not even rats survive down there, but the blonde guy insists there's a key. At this, the boss grabs him, and the kid proposes a deal. If he opens the pod, they have to let him walk. Inside the pod, our MC wakes up and realizes he's in an enemy hideout. The goons then haul the pod over to a giant pit, and our MC can feel his powers getting stronger. He notices his crystal has evolved and that he's swiped the poison ability from the Bee Queen. Reaching the bottom of the pit, they find the skeleton of a giant dragon, and the kid says, "This is the place." The blonde kid points to the structure, saying asterisk, that's asterisk the key, and the boss tells him to get on with it. But suddenly, the pod explodes, sending all the goons flying. One of the henchmen yells that the box opened on its own. Yanhao then uses his new skill, releasing a poisonous gas from his hand. Immediately, the thugs start screaming in agony. With the enemies on the floor, our MC remarks that this new skill is pretty handy. The leader is stunned to see there was a person inside the whole time. He then accuses RMC of getting caught on purpose, to which Yanhao just calls them morons. The leader boasts that he used to be a D-rank warrior and that taking out this kid will be as easy as squashing a bug. He lunges forward to attack, but our MC doesn't even flinch. Then Yanhao activates his poison vein and plants a poison-laced fist right in the guy's face, asking, "Is that all you've got?" The impact is so powerful, it sends the goon flying straight into a wall. Yanhao senses a movement to his side and turns. He locks eyes with the blonde kid who was with the thugs and with a terrifying grin, asks if he wants to try his luck too. But the kid is so terrified by our MC's sheer presence that he just passes out from fear on the spot. Now alone, our MC surveys the area, stunned by the massive number of bee skeletons scattered everywhere. He picks up a piece of bone and notices the damage, concluding that someone put these monsters down here to fight to the last one standing, like some kind of fight club. Suddenly, his enhanced senses pick up on Captain Song Rui's electromagnetic signals coming from 10 floors above him. With a smirk, he crushes the bone in his hand and remarks, "That woman is as impatient as ever." Meanwhile, on the floors above, the remaining goons are unloading everything they've got on the rescue team that just stormed the place. Assistant Lin takes point using his hardening ability as bullets bounce harmlessly off his body, leaving the enemies completely frustrated. Seizing the opening, the assistant plants a kick square in one of the shooter's faces. The rescue team clears the area, but a soldier reports they still haven't found our MC. The captain orders them to keep searching. The assistant spots some claw marks on the wall, mentioning there might be a hidden passage nearby. Our MC's friend says the tracker shows he's right beneath them, but then the signal suddenly vanishes into thin air. Song Rui's heart sinks, thinking the pod was destroyed and Yan Hao is in serious trouble. But just then, our MC shows up, carrying the blonde kid, and casually asks if they're all doing okay. The aide asks if he's okay. Yan confirms, and the captain immediately wants to know what's down there. Yan says it's a beast arena, and the aide asks if they should investigate. Song Rui says that the priority right now is to fall back, and the soldier asks who the kid he's carrying is. Suddenly, the blonde kid wakes up and leaps out of Yan's arms. With a dagger, he screams for the protagonist to die and lunges at him. The attack lands square on Yan's chest, but the dagger shatters because he used his scale armor to defend himself. Then he glares at the boy and asks, "Are you in that much of a hurry to die?" Furious, he grabs the blonde boy by the neck, who curses, saying all soldiers are scum. Our protagonist recognizes the symptoms of the red mist and knocks the boy out cold. The kid falls to the floor and an ID card drops out of his pocket. The protagonist's buddy picks up the card and sees it's from the Chishi patrol team. The captain notes that the person in the photo is older, but looks a lot like the boy. She then orders them to take him for treatment, and the protagonist's friend carries him. And their protagonist's friend carries him as Carbus Susitive though. Exceed them and stay Shriner. Yan Hao then places a hand on the boy, thinking he can save him by absorbing the mist from his body. Back at the Blazing Blood base in Hucheng, the team finally returns from their mission. The guards at the entrance see them, and one of them runs to inform Master Zhang. The captain tells Aide Lin to take Jinying to the infirmary immediately, but a soldier stops them, saying that everyone who returned needs to go through an inspection. Our hero wonders since when this rule existed, and the guard tells them to cooperate. Song Rui then glares at him and asks who gave that order, telling him to get his superior. Suddenly, someone appears asking who's refusing to cooperate with the inspection. It was Zhang Jin, who, with a fake smile, says it's all just a misunderstanding. She questions him, and he explains that the captain and Jin Ying don't need to be checked. But he then turns to our protagonist and asks him to cooperate, but Yan Hao refuses. Furious, the captain unleashes her powers and says he's not the boss of anyone here. She then tells everyone to ignore him, but Zhang Jin tells them to wait. He points to the blonde boy and calls him a filthy thing, but the soldier defends him, saying he's his comrade's younger brother. But Zhang Jin says that trash belongs with the trash and orders his men to grab the boy. The soldiers then surround him, and seeing that the protagonist's friend was resisting, Zhang Jin asks if he's going to disobey a direct order. The captain then tries to step in, but before she can do anything, Yan Hao stops her. He then activates his poison gland and says he'll handle the situation. Our protagonist touches Zhang Jin's shoulder and tells him to cut the charade. Zhang is shocked to realize he's been poisoned and can't move. The protagonist then advises him to back off while he still can. The poison takes effect, and Zhang Jin falls to his knees. Our protagonist then tells the other soldiers to take him away to rest. Completely humiliated, Zhang Jin swears he'll get his revenge on the protagonist, saying he's only one for now. The captain, totally confused, asks what he did, but Yan Hao tells her not to worry, he'll just be out of commission for a while. In the medical lab, Director Jin explains that Jin Ying's suit was sabotaged with a corrosive agent. The chief of staff tells the protagonist that he was also one of the targets, and Yan Hao says he believes he was the main target, and Jin Ying was just caught in the crossfire. The chief then suspends him from all missions until they solve the traitor problem. Director Jin asks him to assign trustworthy people to protect his daughter and Yan Hao. With a serious look, the chief of staff simply agrees. He then turns to his daughter and orders that her priority now is to ensure the safety of them both. A few days later, our protagonist is on a bench, wondering what to do. He asks himself how he's going to continue his search with his mission suspended. Suddenly, his friend shows up, running and desperately yelling his name. He whispers in the protagonist's ear, saying he found a photo with a girl who looks just like his sister. Yan Hao can't believe it and asks if he's for real, accidentally squeezing his friend's arm too tight. They then head to the infirmary and ask the doctor about the boy's condition. The doctor explains that his infection has miraculously receded over the past few days. The protagonist then says it's an internal investigation and tells the doctor to leave. The doctor tries to argue, but Yan Hao says he was the one who cleared the mist from the boy's body. Our protagonist then grabs the photo and sees that it really is his sister, Jiao Shui. The boy wakes up and yells at him to give back his brother's photo. The protagonist then shows him the photo and asks where he saw that girl. The Kim says he saw her 6 months ago at the refugee resettlement center. Yan Hao then asks where she is now, but the boy says he doesn't know. Desperate, he screams that they all vanished and that his brother promised he would come back for him. He then remembers his sister asking him to come back safely, and he remembers the promise he made to come back for her, no matter what. His friend explains that the boy's brother was assigned to evacuate the refugees but disappeared. Yahello then transfers some of his life force to the boy, and his friend asks what he's doing. The protagonist then says it's their little secret and asks him not to tell anyone. He then proposes a deal with the boy, saying he'll help him find his brother. With the photo in hand, he asks the kid to try and trust him. The boy then asks if our protagonist did something to him, and Yahello says it's a win-win for both of them. The kid then agrees and starts to tell him everything that happened 6 months ago. The scene then shifts to the base's cafeteria with soldiers having lunch. The protagonist's friend asks if he's really going back to Chishi. He says that Captain Song told him to keep an eye on him because there's a traitor on the team. But with a determined look, our hero says he came for his sister, and nothing will stop him. Suddenly, the captain appears behind him and asks, "Who said anything about stopping you?" Jin Ying shows up, already recovered, and says this isn't a good place to talk. In a meeting room, our protagonist asks how they knew about his plans. Jin Ying shows security camera footage from the infirmary on her tablet. The protagonist's friend is shocked and accuses her of spying on them the whole time. With a smile, she says she was just protecting everyone at the base. The captain explains that she asked Jin Ying to pull the recordings, and she went to explain the situation. Song Rui says she won't stop him and that she hopes he'll trust her too. Yahello is speechless at the captain's unexpected support. Jin Ying gives him a hug and says she trusts him too, and that she has her own special investigation methods. His buddy also offers his unconditional support for whatever he needs. The captain then asks him to explain his next steps to everyone. With a smile, he agrees and starts laying out his plan for the team. Meanwhile, in the ruins of Chishi City, we see a man heading to a hideout. When he arrives, someone asks for the password, and he replies it's everywhere. He enters and says he has urgent business with Boss Hong about our protagonist. The boss takes a call and gets the info that Yahello is on his way to Chishi. With an evil smile, the henchman celebrates and says our protagonist is toast. A few days later, at a checkpoint in Chishi, the city guard is stopping all vehicles for inspection. Amid the chaos, the protagonist and his friends are stuck in traffic, wondering what's going on. Yahello compliments the captain's car and she explains that since it's not an official mission, her personal car is more discreet. His friend worries about leaving Jin Ying alone, but the captain says her aide is keeping an eye on her. Yahello adds that Jin Ying can provide remote support and has her own investigation methods. Suddenly, one of the guards approaches their car to perform the security check, but a lookout from up high yells desperately that monsters have been spotted 1 kilometer away. It was a pack of iron-spine wolves running right toward them. Seeing the creatures, the guards panic and start fleeing the scene. The captain is furious to see that they're going to leave all the civilians behind to die. Our protagonist then gets out of the car with a smile and says, "Leave it to me, I'll handle this."